Me and Cam are going to go live on the table spot in 3, 2, 1. What is up, everybody? Happy Monday night. Welcome to another edition of the Table Spot. My name is Metal Mike, and I'm joined here, as always, with the man with the best beard in the business, the host of the Boom every Wednesday night after AEW Dynamite, my co-host here every Monday night for the Table Spot, Mr. Cam G. Cam, how you doing on this wonderful Monday evening?
We have a lot of wrestling coming up. And this is just the beginning, really. So I'm here to talk some Monday Night Raw.
Well, before we do, I want to say thank you to everybody who stuck around after the watch along to watch the Table Spot and join us to talk about Raw after Raw. For those of you coming in, welcome. Thank you for coming in. We're going to talk about Monday Night Raw, which aired early tonight. You know, I don't know why they went early tonight. That's kind of the question. Is it probably because they were in Saudi on Saturday? Because any other time they're in Saudi, they normally have just normal shows on Monday night. So, but who knows? Do we really need an answer? No, we don't. Who cares? Raw happened at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight, and we're here to talk about it. So that's all there is to it. So let's get into it. Monday Night Raw happening in the Steel City of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania today in the news for many reasons. Raw being there. A big trade happened in the NFL today. But Cam, as I always ask you, what's your grade on Monday Night Raw tonight?
I'm gonna give it a D+. There was some things I really didn't care for. I'll be honest with you. I think the middle of the show, towards the end of the show, I think kind of saved it. But the way that it really started, it was looking pretty bad. So I'm gonna give it a D+.
Yeah, the start of the show was it was rough. It was a very rough start to this show. I gotta go C-. I do. The beginning of the show was rough. Up until we got, like the first 2-3 segments were kind of rough. Maybe about 40 minutes in, once we got to the tag team title match, is where it started kind of picking up for me. And then after the whole Chad Gable segment, the injury going away for a while segment happened, that's where things really started getting good for me as a fan. Like the beginning of the show, maybe the first hour was kind of a hit or miss for me. So I got to go C- on this one tonight. I do. But let's get started as we just seen the tag team match that just ended in the main event. Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker took on Penta and Sami Zayn. Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker ended up picking up the big win there. And then Jey Uso comes out and stops Sami Zayn from getting tsunami'd by Bronson Reed. We've seen earlier in the night, Seth Rollins comes out with the nice shiny new briefcase. Before this match gets started, we see that little interaction between Paul Heyman and Braun Breaker. I'm about to say Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. That's why I can't get my words out, Cam. That's just it. Can't get my words out because it's Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, But that little interaction between Paul Heyman and Braun Breaker, there's a plan here. And that's involving Seth Rollins with this briefcase. Okay. Now, Braun Breaker seems to know what this plan is, but Bronson Reed seems to be out of the loop. Now, my observation is with that little interaction, the way Paul Heyman was acting is kind of telling me Seth and Paul are in on something, and they're just using Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed till that happens. Do you have any thoughts on that interaction between Braun Breaker, Bronson Reed, and Paul Heyman before the main event match tonight? And if you have any thoughts on the match itself?
Not really. I don't know what they're doing, to be completely honest with you. I think that's just Paul being Paul. With him, he plays the cowardly heel, I think, very, very well. So I don't know. Maybe that was when Seth's not there. Braun Breaker kind of takes up being the captain of what's left of the team when the actual captain's not there.
Yeah.
That's what I think. As far as them being used, I mean, yeah, probably. But I mean, we saw this. We saw the same thing with Evolution, which is
Yeah.
what this group is being compared to. Triple H really just used Orton and Batista and Flair to really get and protect what he wanted, and that was the World Heavyweight Championship. So that's nothing new. What I'm seeing with this group, as far as potentially being done or breaking away, I mean, it's possible, I guess.
Yeah.
If that's the direction they want to take this, to me, I think it's kind of pointless and a waste of our time to put this group together and make it look promising, just to then have it all fall apart. After Seth Rollins gets the World Heavyweight Championship, so I don't really see that happening. I hope that doesn't happen. I don't even think we get a group name until we get the final member, because I don't think we've even seen the final member. Again, like I said, rumors floating around that there's two potential rumors of one more member to this group. It's either Ethan Page or Ricky Saints from NXT. So I want to see who they potentially add there. I think once we get that final piece of this group, I think then we get an actual group name. The actual match itself was good. I didn't see the ending. I was away, but from what I did see, was pretty decent. Somebody mentioned in the chat, I think it was T, that mentioned in the chat that this was the first main event that we got with no outside interference, which was
This was the first Raw where there was no interference at all during any matches.
Yeah.
That's
true
none
too.
whatsoever.
That's true too. So
everything was straight up.
That's refreshing, because like I said, they have been doing a lot of interferences as of late, as we've seen in Saudi as well. They did another interference, with Seth Rollins in the main event.
So I mean, I get it that we may have another member coming into this group. That's the one thing that gets me with this group is I thought we potentially had a name a week or two ago, because Seth Rollins said like a group name, and I'm like, okay, this might be the name, but it kind of sounds weird to be a group name. I forget what he said, but it still just sounded weird. I was like, why would you name it? Like, this is the meaning of this word. That sounds odd for a group. And I forget what it is, what the word was. But, a few moments before this match happened, we had a Gunther segment, and he came out, was talking about his match with Goldberg, and Seth Rollins ended up coming back. The Oracle. Thank you, T. Thank you. Yeah, that was a weird name. Like, I'm like, this does not have a group meaning to it whatsoever, because the meaning of Oracle is like a leader, a god, somebody that leads a group of people. So it means something for Seth Rollins if he's going by a new moniker of being like an Oracle, but that doesn't sound right for a group name.
Yep.
It sounds weird. But during the Gunther segment, Gunther's standing there talking about Goldberg, talking about his match with Goldberg. Seth Rollins comes out and interrupts him and says that I told everybody this briefcase just isn't focusing on one world championship. This is focusing on both world titles. He pretty much put Gunther and John Cena on check, saying that I could cash in on either of you. We've seen the attempt happen. Well, the possible attempt happening at Night of Champions on John Cena, that got stopped. Not only by CM Punk, but by John Cena himself. Now he comes out tonight and tells Gunther this, but before Seth Rollins can make any type of move or maybe even any type of threat towards Gunther, out comes CM Punk to stop him. Seth Rollins goes running, and then we get the mayhem between Seth Rollins and LA Knight, which makes a match at Saturday Night Main Event. LA Knight takes on Seth Rollins. Is there a possibility that Seth Rollins and the plan is for him to cash in Money in the Bank before Saturday night's main event and make Goldberg and Gunther a non-title match? Maybe. We got 2 weeks to make this happen. 2 Monday Night Raws left before that Saturday night's main event. So do you think that this plan that Paul Heyman, plan B, as what Paul Heyman said, could go into effect before Saturday night's main event? Or do you think that it's going to be a little longer until we get the cash in?
I'm still sticking to my guns. I'm still sticking with SummerSlam. Like I said, He could cash in at Saturday's main event. I wouldn't be surprised if he comes out and teases a potential cash in. Again, like I said, with me going with the the scary outcome here with Goldberg winning the World Heavyweight Championship. Again, him cashing in on Goldberg and beating Goldberg for the World Heavyweight Championship means absolutely nothing because you're not beating anybody that's on the active roster. So it's just fluff to me. But if Gunther retains, which he should, and you cash in on Gunther, that means something. You beat the biggest and baddest. He said it tonight. You beat the biggest and baddest bully who's pretty much been pushing his weight around for the entirety he's been on the Raw roster. And you took him down. You beat him for the World Heavyweight Championship. That means something. So I think that would just give Seth Rollins, as a heel especially, more bragging rights, saying, hey, I'm the one that was able to chop down the tree, the measuring stick on this roster in Gunther. So I definitely like that. And also, I thought about this too as well. I kind of feel like with the interaction backstage, to make even more sense of this, and this just popped in my head, I could see after Seth winning the World Heavyweight Championship, him then going and looking at Paul Heyman or Seth Rollins and saying, hey, we've helped you out now, but now it's time to start thinking about me. I want my Intercontinental Championship back.
Yeah. Yeah, because it seems like ever since Braun Breaker, after WrestleMania 41, the day after Mania 41, he aligned himself with Seth Rollins.
Immediately, yes.
And since then, he's almost been, I don't want to say he's almost been like little brothered, but at the same time, he's a 2-time ex-Intercontinental champion. He was a big deal before WrestleMania 41. And then after that, it was kind of like, he gets into this group, and I think this was the first time we actually heard him speak since being in this group tonight. I don't think we've heard him speak since then.
It's one of the times. He doesn't talk much.
It's very, very few far beyond.
He doesn't get the opportunity to talk much, no.
I mean, and Bronson Reed.
This was definitely his first time.
This was his first time, number one. But number two, it's like the way you made him sound, it's like he's there, but he's not in the loop of anything. It's like he's part of the group, but he's not part of the plan. Yeah. Like, what he's standing there like, what plan? Like, what are you guys talking about? What's going on? Like, dude, you're part of the fucking group. How do you not know what's going on? Yeah. So it's like you're either making him seem like he's not paying attention to what's around him, or he's just there as a heavy for when you need him. He's not part of this thing, but he is part of this thing when you need him. That's it. He's the hitman in a sense. No shout out to Bret Hart. Just saying. But Gunther, honestly, I think the cash-in might happen at Saturday night's main event. I think it will, because I know my prediction is that we're going to mirror, and I still stand on this, that the world title matches are going to mirror WrestleMania at SummerSlam. Gunther, Jey Uso, Cody Rhodes, and John Cena, which is already set in stone as of Saturday, the WWE Championship. But part of me is thinking like maybe Seth does cash in at Saturday night's main event, because that would be a primary opportunity for him to do so. And that would throw off having us mirror, because do I want SummerSlam to mirror WrestleMania's world title matches? No. I want to see something different. I do. I don't want to see Jey and Gunther again. We're obviously getting Cody and Cena, which makes sense. But on the world title side, I don't want to see Jey and Gunther again. I don't. They have a rubber match that has to happen for that world title. But part of me is like, I want Seth to cash in, whether it's on Goldberg, whether it's on Gunther, because I want to see a different world title match at SummerSlam. At the same time, I see Jey and Gunther. So I think you're more on the right path than I am. Seth could end up cashing in at SummerSlam after or during the world title match. So we may get Jey and Gunther, but Seth is going to get involved somewhere. And he's going to cash in there if it doesn't happen at Saturday night's main event. But if Goldberg wins, we better get Seth cashing in. Because I do not want to see Goldberg even walk out of the ring with that world title around his waist or over his shoulder. Like, if he wins, that's as far as he better get, is being in that ring celebrating. That's it. Like, you can have Seth Rollins be the last guy he looks up at the lights for. Doesn't even have to be Gunther. If it's not Gunther, it better be Seth Rollins. So, Well, to see what happens moving forward, we got 2 weeks away from Saturday night's main event. July 12th is when it happens, Atlanta, Georgia, and it's happening at nighttime. We got so many wrestling events happening on July 12th. We got NXT, we got All In, AEW All In, and we got Saturday night's main event. And then the next night, Evolution. 4 wrestling events in the span of 24 hours.
Yep.
Crazy. And then we got Monday Night Raw on July 14th.
Yeah.
So, my birthday, by the way. 39 years old. Dude, 39.
Happy early birthday.
Fuck me, dude. Well, I mean, we'll be live here. So, Monday night. Just because it's my birthday doesn't mean we're not going to do our jobs here and talk wrestling on the table spot. We'll be here. I'm not taking off just because I'm turning 39. No. It's only 39 years old, dude. Come on. I never heard that 39 years old was like a special birthday. It's an odd number. So, let's talk about what do we talk about? The Judgment Day, man. Let's talk about the Judgment Day. So backstage earlier in the night, we had a Judgment Day segment. Dominic Mysterio shows back up. Him and AJ Styles have an interaction, and Dom has papers in his hand, legitimizing his injury. And he shows it to AJ Styles and says, "Hey, I'm injured. And as long as I'm injured, you don't get your title match." Well, AJ Styles says, like, dude, one way or another, I'm going to get my championship match. So maybe somewhere down the line, we're going to get Dom and AJ. Who knows when it's going to happen? Okay. I don't know if you have anything on that, or can I continue?
You can continue. I don't care.
Okay. So moments later, we get the WWE World Tag Team title match, Judgment Day, JD McDonough, Finn Balor taking on the New Day, in which was a very, very good tag team title match. The Judgment Day ends up winning the titles, for the Judgment Day. So JD McDonough, Finn Balor are the new tag team champions. Moving forward later on in the night, we get another segment with the Judgment Day, and that's them voting Roxanne Perez into the Judgment Day because they had to make a decision for the women's tag team titles. It was either Raquel gives up the tag belts and we crown new tag team champions, or Raquel keeps the belts. Roxanne could be her fill-in tag team partner. And in order for that to happen, they have to defend them. So we get a match made for Evolution, a fatal 4-way women's tag team title match. Roxanne and Raquel will defend against a team from Raw, a team from SmackDown, and a team from NXT. A lot of turmoil happening right now inside the Judgment Day. Raquel doesn't seem to be too happy about this. Everybody else, well, JD and Finn, it was almost like that like you almost seen 3 different like feelings happen at once. Finn Balor was the happy one. JD seemed to be stuck in the middle, and Dom was kind of like, I got to talk to Liv first. And he was pressured. He was like, no. You got to make a decision now, dude. Is she in or is she not? And Dom said, well, if it's going to keep the tag belts in the Judgment Day, then she's in. So your thoughts on this turmoil with the Judgment Day right now? How do you feel about them winning the tag belts tonight? And how do you feel about Roxanne being involved and right now them holding pretty much, well, a lot of gold right now on Monday Night Raw?
Well, let's start off with the, the semi-good, I guess. Obviously, seen the decision coming with Roxanne Perez being added to this group and being basically the stand-in tag team champion with Raquel, with Liv Morgan being hurt. I've seen that coming. So, that aspect is predictable. Now I'm very I'm curious just to see, where that really goes moving forward. If it plays out the way we're saying it's going to play out, or if they just take some random left turn and they go completely the other direction. I don't know. But for right now, it's set up for Raquel and Liv Morgan to have probably one hell of a feud when she comes back. Now on to the bad. The Judgment Day winning back the tag team titles yet again. So this is the problem. This is one of the many problems with the tag team division right now. I just feel like every time they go away from the Judgment Day, and you think, oh, okay, cool. They're giving another tag team some shine. They're pushing the tag team division and what have you. It's like they realize they'll try it for a little while and then realize it's not working, and then they just go back with the safe option, and that's the Judgment Day, and that's what I hate. I hate that they keep doing that.
Yeah.
So I don't even really know what to say. Is that it for the New Day? Is the New Day just going to be just gone, forgotten about? I don't know, but yeah, it's very frustrating to see because they just keep going back to these safe options. So I'm not really sure what the plan is right now for those tag team titles, but it's more of a problem than it is a solution right now for those titles. So I don't know.
Well, we'll definitely have to see what happens with the Judgment Day moving forward because, again, we get those teases of them breaking up, and then they don't, and then we put titles on them, and it's like the Judgment Day is kind of like in that zone of like, I don't know, it's so hot and cold with them right now. It's crazy. So, is my connection okay?
Yeah.
Am I good right now? Okay.
Yeah. Good,
because the storm is starting to get a little heavy out there. I'm seeing my internet kind of acting up, so I'm hoping that we can get through this and everything. We should be here for another like maybe 30 minutes to finish up Raw. And I do have an on this day segment that I pulled up, which should be good, and I want to kind of get into it real quick with it. But let's try and grind through this before this storm kicks me out of here. Bailey and Lyra Valkyria are battling for number one contendership for the Intercontinental title. They did have a match. They did have their backstage segment tonight. They kind of got into an argument. Adam Pearce got in the middle of it, and he said, look, we're going to settle this number one contendership match. Winner goes on to take on Becky for the IC title. When and where, we don't know. We end up getting into the match. They end up with a draw. Both women's shoulders are down after a German suplex roll-up type of pin that happened. So now we're in turmoil. Who's the number one contender for the women's Intercontinental title? Now, Cam, I said that this storyline is kind of shifted to where it's pretty much surrounding Bailey and Lyra, and Becky's kind of just like out of the picture right now. I don't know how you feel about that. That's how I feel, but your thoughts?
I mean, this was a pretty decent match. I mean, you have two technical savants in Lyra and Bailey, so I'm not really surprised they went out there and had a pretty good match. I had expected Bailey to get involved. See, I think we get so used to seeing interferences being used on Monday Night Raw that when they don't happen, we're surprised. So I had fully expected Becky to get involved in this match, cause a DQ, and then we get the triple threat. Them going with the draw doesn't really make sense because when I hear draw, I think of time limit draw. So really, it should just be, I don't know, the match really should just been thrown out in A because it was basically a double count because their shoulders were both on the mat. That's how they should have said it. Now,
why not continue the match though? Like,
this is an AEW. That AEW would have done it if this was Wednesday night.
Yeah,
they would have done it. But who knows?
Like, we need to have a legitimate winner here. Let's continue this match. No, we're just going to go with a draw.
No. They're obviously going somewhere with this. So I think it's going to be, I would think that it's going to be a triple threat for the Intercontinental Championship. I think that's going to be a semi-decent match, if I may say so myself. Again, like I said, I think Bailey coming back was the best thing that happened to this feud. It just added something that I feel like it was missing. And even if, I mean, for whatever reason, let's just say Bailey would have won the Intercontinental Championship, I think Bailey and Lyra would have a phenomenal feud over that championship. So either way, I don't think you can go wrong with whoever wins this title between those three.
Well, it seems like they're heading more towards a triple threat, maybe for Evolution, maybe for SummerSlam, one of the two. So we'll have to see what happens come next Monday night. I'm hoping we get a decision as soon as that on where this match is going to take place. That's going to be the match. Like I said, it seems like Bailey and Lyra kind of took over this storyline and kind of pushed Becky, who is the champion, into the shadows, kind of saying like, we're going to take the spotlight right now. You just kind of sit back, relax, and we'll take over from here. That's kind of what happened. I still have that feeling of like, we kind of had that road open for a Lyra build / chase for the summer. leading up to a match with Becky at like SummerSlam, and then Bayley came back. And I was kind of looking forward to see what they would have done with a build up for Lyra. Now it's like we're going to build Lyra up, but at the same time, Bayley's going to come back and kind of involve herself, and we're going to make this a three-way dance. So we'll have to see what happens moving forward with these three, especially surrounding that Intercontinental Championship. We find out Chad Gable's injured. He's going to be out for a while. That kind of leaves a question, though, Cam, because we're not dumb. We know Chad Gable is El Grande Americano. 2 segments happened tonight. Number 1, Chad Gable saying he's injured. He leaves Ivy Nile in charge. Well, Kathy Kelly, I believe that's who it was, Kathy Kelly, who catches up with Ivy Nile, an American Made, and starts asking her thoughts on like Chad Gable and being away and how she feels. And as she's talking, we see somebody walk through the frame as El Grande Americano. This wasn't Chad Gable, because this person seemed, number 1, a little lanky, but number 2, taller than Chad. So that kind of answers our question that Chad Gable's injury, I think, is legit. Now the question is who's a Grande Americano? You have thoughts on this?
So yeah, obviously that wasn't Chad as El Grande tonight. That was very obvious. I just, as soon as I seen him, I'm like, no, this dude's stature is way different. Way taller. He's less muscular than Chad is, and just the overall build. So I mean, somebody had said in the chat earlier during the course of the watch along that this is potentially Ludwig Kaiser. I can see that being the thing. They're not doing anything with Ludwig Kaiser, so I can see that being the thing. If that's the case, I can imagine him having a match. Ludwig being El Grande, and like I said, people are immediately going to point that out. As soon as they see him in the mask and in the singlet, they're going to point that out that that's not the same person. Yeah. So, and I'm sure, memes are going to come out like, oh man, El Grande was put on a freaking taffy puller. He's stretched out for some reason. So, but if they're going to go that route, I don't know for how long Chad's going to be gone or whatever, but I would say they should reveal him. They should just have the reveal of him being Ludwig Kaiser a whole lot sooner, and just saying, hey, I'm not El Grande, but I did this for whatever self-serving purpose, maybe to get into the Intercontinental Championship picture. Who knows? I don't know, but that's what I would say they should do, just because you're not going to fool anybody for very long with this, because we know it's not El Grande, or we know it's not the person who's been playing El Grande thus far. So
the good, like I said during the watch along, this does a couple good things. And what I'm doing right now is I'm kind of looking at, there's pictures already out there, still frames of this question on who El Grande Americano is. And this is what I was about to say is, things are like this are going to float around the internet. It's already happening, still frame pictures of who this might be, guess who it is, type of deal. Instead of me doing that, I'm going to say this, and I said this during the watch along. Chad Gable, we know, is El Grande Americano. He's injured right now. This is going to do good in many different aspects. It's either we don't get an unmasking of who this is, and it keeps the El Grande Americano character alive for when Chad Gable comes back. There's the good in that. Or, like you said, if it is Ludwig Kaiser, which it very well may be, if they do unmask Ludwig as being El Grande Americano, then this makes a big deal for him. Why? Because we haven't seen him in months. We can now get him on TV and involved in something, maybe the Intercontinental title picture, something big, because he deserves it. He's a hell of a superstar. So nothing bad could come from this situation. All good things are going to come from this situation, which way it comes. It's going to be good. I'm not going to sit here and really make a guess, even though it's a very, very good picture. I mean, I'll make a guess with you off air. That's going to be that. I'm not going to sit here on the internet, on the show, and try and make guesses of who this is, unless you want to do that. I'm going to leave that one up to you. But right now, I'm going to leave it how it is. Right now, we got El Grande Americano. And until we find out who it is, or If we don't, then so be it. It's nothing but good things right now with this, and kind of want to keep it alive. Now, all fair, like I said, I'm going to message you and be like, you know what, I think who it is, Cam. I'm going to leave it at that. Just going to leave it at that. But the other good thing is it keeps the American-made group alive. Because do you think Ivy Nile and the Creed brothers would really be able to keep this group rolling on a consistent basis?
No.
There it is. So this is going to keep that group on a consistent basis, rolling. So I apologize for moving a little fast right now. Again, like I said, we're fighting a storm, and it's starting to get a little nasty out there. And my internet is kind of like pinging up and down on me. I hope everything's coming through clear at the moment. Mm-hmm. Okay. We got 2 more things to talk about. Real quick, Sheamus Rusev, good match, physical. Do you hope this thing continues, and do you have any thoughts on this match?
I wouldn't mind seeing another match between these two. I don't think it's done. Kind of a surprising ending. I fully expected Sheamus to win this match. He's pretty much been on a roll since he came back. So a little surprising there. But that's why I do believe that they're due for some more matches. I don't know where or how far they really take this necessarily. Nothing important is really at hand here. But I wouldn't mind seeing another match though. Like I say, it's physical, it's raw, it's real. And that's something you don't get a lot of with a lot of the smaller guys on the roster. So so it's big mini men slapping meat. It's always a good thing. So
and just to correct myself, like I said, I know I'm fighting against the sword, but I know you said you had a lot to say about things. Please do not cut off anything that you want to say. Take the floor, say as much as you want to say. I'm just pointing out that if I lose internet for some reason, it's because of this storm, but do not shorten what you want to say just because of that. Don't cut yourself short, please. I want you to, me, Cam, I'm a very big believer in open platform, and I'm very big on giving you the floor on everything you want to say. Say everything you want to say, please. Karrion Kross attacked Sami Zayn. We talked about this on Saturday night, that we felt like this wasn't over. It seems like this thing's going to continue. I'm personally happy about this for Karrion Kross' sake because I want to see more of him. Do you have any thoughts on Karrion Kross and Sami Zayn?
Yeah, he's finally in a storyline, it looks like. So I'm glad to see this is continuing. I had previous thoughts of him or where this could have gone with him. But I'll definitely sit back and see where this goes because I'm not sure how far they're going to take this either. But again, like I said, we're getting more Karrion Kross for better or for worse. So I'm very curious to see where this goes. I could, again, maybe he ends up being the one that comes out on top, out of this feud, and then they move him on to something more important. I don't know yet, but I definitely have to see.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, I'm happy with them continuing this. I want to see if they take this further because that match on Saturday was awesome. I'll say this right now. That was my match of the night on Saturday night. It was. And I would not be mad if this match happens again at SummerSlam with some type of stipulation to it. I'd be for it. And would you be okay with a steel cage match, though?
No.
No. I had to go there. Oh. I had to go there.
God, no.
I had to go there. We can't have a ladder match because they're not battling for anything. So what can we have?
I mean, they could.
Would you be for a Hell in a Cell, even though it's a steel cage?
Just have a ladder match, and then they just have to pin each other.
How about this? A ladder match between these two, and whoever loses has to go to SmackDown.
See, I thought about that. You could do that, I guess.
We're a month away from SummerSlam. This thing can be built so deep to where whoever loses has to go to SmackDown. Like, they have to separate each other. They can make this pretty deep in a month.
Maybe. I think I'd be okay with Hell in a Cell. It's not. Okay. It's still a cage, but it's not. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's not your traditional steel cage match.
I do want to ask you one question because we have one last thing to talk about from Raw tonight. I do have an On This Day segment for tonight because there is a history type thing for On This Day today. But I do have a question for you that I came across on X earlier today that I want to get your thoughts on. We'll do that after we talk about Raw. Last segment to talk about. Rhea Ripley opened the show tonight. Dude, I mean, I'm all about the whole mommy nickname, but when she said, "Welcome to Monday Night Mommy," I cringed. I was like, it doesn't work.
No.
Maybe Monday Night Rhea or Monday Night Ripley, but Monday Night Mommy, it didn't hit. It didn't hit one bit. She was talking about in a small forum, talking about getting her priorities straight. And before she can even get the word out of getting her priorities, before she can even finish the word straight, Io's music hits. And Io comes out and says, you can't have Evolution without me because I'm the world champion. You can't be on top, Rhea, because you don't have this. Adam Pearce told me I could pick my challenger for Evolution. So Rhea, me, you, main event, Evolution, World Championship, yes or no? Rhea accepted, and now the match is made. Rhea Ripley challenges Io Sky for the Women's World Championship at Evolution on July 13th. Your thoughts on this whole promo segment? I felt like this wasn't much, and I felt like it didn't have to be much. We know the history between these two. We knew we were going to get here at some point. So bottom line is they kept it short and sweet, got to the point, and now we're getting a women's world title match between these two at Evolution. Cam, your thoughts?
Again, there's a lot to unbox here. First of all, they have the glaring issue with Io not really having any title defenses since Mania. So I was very confused as to what they're doing or what their plan is, or maybe they don't have a plan for Io Sky. And then, I'm looking at the way that Rhea's moving. They kept her very close to or around the Women's World Championship since her losing it and her failing to regain it at Mania. And then, after Saudi, because I even said this, after Saudi, I was like, I'm very interested in what they do with her next, because there's not really a whole lot going on in the mid-card scene right now. It's kind of locked up with Lyra, Becky, and Bayley for the Intercontinental Championship, and I don't think you're going to stick Rhea in that mix either. So I don't know what they're really going to do. I felt like this space to open the show, I think, was meant for Io to come out first, because we don't hear much from Io when she is the Women's World Champion in the first place. So I feel like that was kind of backwards to give Ripley this time and then have Io interrupt. It's like she's the Women's World Champion, but it's like she's begging for that spotlight. She's begging for attention, and she shouldn't have to. Like, the spotlight should already be on her. She is the top champion, on the roster. So this doesn't make any sense to me. And like I said, I have a major issue with this simply because, again, I'm a Rhea Ripley fan, probably just as much as you are. But again, I feel like they're going back to the safe option here, with giving Rhea another championship match. And I feel like the writing is on the wall. If they haven't really done nothing much with Io as it is, and they haven't done anything with her storyline wise, her entire run this far as champion, especially since Mania, I would think she's really just a placeholder for Rhea. She's going to drop the championship back down to Rhea. If she beats Rhea, I'll be surprised, but I just don't see that happening. And I have a problem with that. Like I said, again, I like Rhea, but it's like they're forcing me to dislike Rhea because they continuously keep going back to her. She'll drop the championship, and then it's like she's right back in the mix. I didn't have a problem with it when it was Liv, because she got hurt and never really got her rematch, and she had to relinquish the title and all that. So I understood that, but for this, it just doesn't make any sense. Like,
yeah,
why are we going back to Rhea again? Like, I don't understand that. I mean, unless the plan is they're looking at the bigger picture here, because I thought about this slightly. Maybe the bigger picture here is Rhea beats Io, and then maybe we get Stephanie and Rhea for the title, which would be massive.
Maybe
that would be major. So I don't know, but right now I'm not liking it just because I feel like Rhea's the safe option. So
the last time Io Sky defended the Women's World Championship was on April 20th at WrestleMania 41 in the Triple Threat.
Yeah.
So we went through the month of May and damn near through the month of June. 2 months without a defense.
Yep.
That's insane. Like, I said it during the watch along. Io Sky's first women's world title reign was piss poor. Sucked. Wasn't good. This one, there's nothing to it. She's just held the championship. That's it. She defended it one time 2.5 months ago in a triple threat match at WrestleMania. Since then, absolutely nothing. And she's the women's world champion. I'm going to say that one more time. She's the women's world champion and has not defended it since your biggest show of the year. Since then, we've had Backlash, Night of Champions. We've had probably one or two Saturday night's main events. One. Couple Monday Night Raws where she could have defended the belt. I think putting it on Rhea Ripley is their best scenario, because even during Rhea's last reign, yeah, she was involved in the Judgment Day very heavily. And she defended the championship very little, but she defended it. And it made sense when she defended it. Io has done absolutely nothing as a world champion. So what's the point of having the belt on her if she's going to do absolutely nothing? What's the point? That's why I kind of hope they just take the belt off of her and live to put the belt on her for another time where you're going to make sense of it. Because round 1 didn't work. Round 2 sure as hell ain't working. So we'll have to see. But again, very short and sweet, to the point. Rhea, Io, Evolution, July 13th. We'll have to see what happens. I don't think they're going to have any type of build-up either. I think tonight was just it. I think the next 2 weeks is just going to be them face-to-face during certain situations and no contact until we get to Evolution. That's all. That's what I think we're going to get. Yeah. And that's all. That's it for Monday Night Raw from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the last day of June 30th, 2025. Cam, I seen something on the internet that I want to ask you about really quick. And I came across this. It was a fan-made thing on X. And the question was, Seth Rollins and CM Punk, what type of match would you, as a fan, and I liked this question. I did. I actually liked this question. I answered it too. What type of match would you like to see Seth Rollins and CM Punk have for their final one-on-one? Now, I said, this is the match I picked. I picked the 3 Stages of Hell, because we haven't seen a 3 Stages of Hell match in a long time. Okay? Here were my match options. Match number 1 would be just a straight-up singles match. Match number 2, Falls Count Anywhere. Okay? Now, during this Falls Count Anywhere, so round number 1, match number 1, Seth Rollins could win on like a bullshit roll-up. Okay? Piss off CM Punk so much that these two go fight into the backstage area, in the crowd, whatever, and CM Punk ends up picking up a pinfall win. These guys are so beat to shit, and it takes them about 2 minutes to get to their feet. And then we get the camera close-up of them face-to-face. I'm building things up here. Face-to-face. And then the third match. Before the third match happens, you get the close-up camera of Seth Rollins and CM Punk, and CM Punk says to Seth Rollins, "I'll see you in hell." And they both make their way back to the ring and battle inside Hell in a Cell. What match would you pick, Cam?
So I got a couple.
Okay, go for it.
One of them would be Parking Lot Brawl. Another one would be let's bring back a classic. Let's bring back some old school Mankind type stuff. A Boiler Room Brawl. Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
Dude, and the final, the thing that they have to accomplish is, now I want to get how yours would end, but how I could picture it now is like, let's say this is deep in the storyline and Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman are starting to have problems, and Paul Heyman is the one standing in the ring with the World Heavyweight Championship, and the winner has to get it handed to him by Paul Heyman, and Paul turns on Seth, and we get CM Punk and Paul Heyman back together.
That'd be wild. That'd be wild.
Dude.
That would be kind of wild.
I want to know what your setup would be. I just had to throw that out there before I forgot about it. Sorry.
So parking lot brawl, boiler room brawl.
Okay.
Another one potentially could be, I'm thinking a leather strap match.
Ooh,
man, because I go back to me, if you ask me, the best leather strap match I ever saw was between The Rock and Triple H back in the day. That was amazing.
that was good.
Match.
Did you ever see Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Savio Vega?
Yes, that was good too. Yeah,
And what was crazy about that one was that was during an in your house, and in the middle of the match, there was a bad thunderstorm outside where they lost electricity. They had to continue the match on Tuesday night.
That's crazy.
2 nights later, they had to continue the pay-per-view right from the beginning. It was nuts. I remember that like it was yesterday.
That match I remember too. But my favorite was Rock and Triple H. So leather strap match. And then my final one. And this one is like a little confusing, I guess. But my final one would be an Inferno match.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's another situation of like you get that final count, I'll see you in hell type of thing. Ooh, yeah. Okay. I'd be for all of them. I would be. I'd be for all of them. Those are good situations. See, not all fan-made stuff is bullshit. Sometimes they could turn things into good content, and I'm for it. All right. I'm glad I brought this up tonight. I am. I wasn't skeptical on bringing this up either. I was bringing it up either way. I was. But I'm very glad I did now. Very, very happy. Last segment of the night on this day, Cam. So yesterday, Cam, was the 10-year anniversary. June 29th was the 10-year anniversary, believe it or not, of Seth Rollins winning the Money in the Bank the last time. Do you believe that? Yeah.
No.
But do you know what the today is the, let's see, it's 2025. That would be 20 years, 1918. Today is it's 2025, 26, 27. So today is the 17-year anniversary, Cam. After being moved to Monday Night Raw in prior weeks due to the draft, CM Punk made his debut on the show on Monday Night Raw. CM Punk made his debut on Monday Night Raw by cashing in his Money in the Bank briefcase to defeat Edge and become the new World Heavyweight Champion after Edge got laid out by one Dave Bautista.
Yep, I remember that.
Crazy.
Yep.
Yesterday was the 10-year anniversary of Seth Rollins winning his first Money in the Bank, and today is the 17-year anniversary of CM Punk winning the world title off of Edge.
Crazy.
That is nuts. Nuts. I wonder if there's anything else good that happened today. Gail Kim made her WWE debut on Raw by winning the Women's Championship in a 7-woman battle royal. She last eliminated former champion Victoria for the victory back in 2003. That's another good one. Sheamus made his WWE TV debut with a squash match win against Oliver John on ECW back in 2009. So Sheamus made his debut back in 2009 today.
Nice.
AJ Lee made her first in-ring appearance since April to defeat Paige for the WWE Divas title on Raw in Hartford, Connecticut in 61 seconds back in 2014. So on the same day that Seth Rollins won the day after Seth Rollins won Money in the Bank. And then we'll go as deep as 1995 in Ginthorpe, Pennsylvania. Raven and Steven Richards defeated the Public Enemy, Rocco Rock, and Johnny Grunge to win the ECW World Tag Team titles.
Nice.
That's the 30-year anniversary of that happening today. So crazy. Today was a good day in wrestling.
Apparently.
I stopped doing the birthdays, dude, because we found out that those weren't accurate, especially with that what was it, back on like April 14th, we said Jeff Jarrett, and Jeff Jarrett's birthday is the same day as mine. So that was completely inaccurate. So I don't do the wrestling birthdays anymore, but that's it. But Cam, let's get out of here, man. That's it for the table spot. With that being said, Cam, your social media is on the bottom. What do you want to let the people know?
Like I said, we're going to be recording our LFG reactions and review for season 2, episode 2. I would think, tomorrow. So go to our YouTube page, RCR, and check that out as well when that is posted. And of course, we'll be back live on the River City Radio for the Boom Wednesday night with the addition of Phil Khan, talking some AEW Dynamite again, ramping up for AEW All In, which I'm very excited for, seeing how that card plans out. Love and appreciate all you guys come by and checking out the stream tonight.
So make sure you're checking out everything Cam is doing on social media. Cam's Wrestling Corner, great videos. You won't be disappointed. I promise you that. And I'm not just saying that because this man is digitally sitting next to me. I mean that. I promise you, you will be highly entertained. My social media, MetalMike714, Instagram, X, TikTok. Oh, wow, I hit the wrong one. Instagram, X, TikTok, Snapchat, Twitch, Xbox, MetalMike714. That's where you can find me. I'm very alive and posting on TikTok and X. Instagram, I'm kind of hit or miss on. Twitch, kind of hit or miss on. And then Xbox, that's my gamer tag. That's it. So, MetalMike714. As far as the Huddle Hub Podcast, twitch.tv/Huddle Hub Podcast. We are live every Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch the replays of the shows over on the YouTube at the Huddle Hub Pod. All the links to the Huddle Hub Podcast social medias are in the bio over on the Twitch channel. So please go hit the follow button. We are not going to be live this Sunday. It is the 4th of July weekend. I'm taking the day off. Even though it's not the 4th of July, I'm taking the day off. Okay? I got plans that day. I'm going to see the new Jurassic World on Sunday. I'm excited for that.
Nice.
Super excited for that. So I'm taking the day off, and me and John will be back on July 13th. John is making his return to the show on July 13th. So we are going to plan out our show. And I already started planning it out. It's going to be a great show when he comes back. So come join us July 13th, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time when we make our return. With that being said, thank you everybody for joining us for the watch along. Thank you for joining us here for the table spot. Be good to each other. Be kind to each other. Take care of each other. Be patient with each other. Remember, the world is not moving as fast as you think. We'll see y'all Wednesday night for the Boom, hosted by this man right here, Mr. Cam G. Until then, deuces, everybody.